Welcome to the Team-Initiated Problem Solving or Tips to Take-Home Task Activities. Task number 2 is going to focus on increasing your familiarity with the drill down features so we can build our precise problem statements. For task number 2, you're going to need a laptop or computer with connection to the internet. You may also want to print out hard copies of the task 2 directions. The first step will be to access our SWIS demo database. To complete this, you're going to want to connect to PBIS Apps, which is www.pbisapps.org. Once you reach that website, you're going to log into the demo database, not your typical database for your school. You're going to use the email address tips@demo.com, and the password is going to be demo. You may want to write those down on a scratch sheet of paper so you have them accessible, but also note they are listed on the front page of Tasks 2 and Tasks 3. Let's get started now. Okay, so now we have opened our internet connection and we've typed in the pbisapps.org web address. Once we've connected, we want to go ahead and log in, and we're going to go up to the upper right hand side where it says PBIS Applications Login. This is where we're going to enter the tips@demo.com as the email address and then demo as the password. And then we will go ahead and log in. So once we log in, you'll notice that it looks a little different. This is the demo database. The demo database does not pull any current data from the current school year. The database that's built within here crosses the 2011-2012 school year. So when I open it right now, you can see how we have a whole bunch of errors and messages how there's no referrals that are entered for this current school year. The first thing I want to do is give you a quick orientation if you're not familiar with SWIS, just so you can progress as we work through this task. We look up here and we can see here's a dashboard. When we click on that, we're pulled to this main window, which again, if we were connected to the current school year, if we had data for this current school year, we'd already see some graphs come up here. There's another tab here for adding a referral. We're not going to be working with that. Viewing reports. Let's go ahead and click on that one right now. We're going to see errors again right away when we open up this window, again because we don't have this current school year. Okay. If I click on School Summary, typically it'd be a whole bunch of series of graphs open up, but we have to change the school year. We're going to go to 2011-2012. We're going to click there. For right now, I'm just going to keep all referrals and minors, and I'm going to hit Generate. Once this generates, it will pull up a series of graphs from our demo database. So again, this is typically what you're used to seeing when you open up SWIS. So you see here's our average referrals per day, referrals by problem behavior, by location, referrals by time, and this is again pulling from all of the demo database across the school year. So again, you might not see, when we go back to this first graph, all of the months typically filled in. Now what I would like to do is go ahead right away and look at how we build and scan and looking for problem behaviors. So one of the first things we're going to do is I'm going to go pull up the SWIS core reports and go down to average referrals. Okay, again, it's showing me the error because I don't have the current school year data in here. Go ahead, hit 2011-2012. Okay. I'm just still going to keep all referrals at this time point here. And now I want to click on here for Show National Data on the graph. I'm also going to put the values because that always helps me. And now hit Generate. Now when we pull up this graph, we're going to be able to answer the question of is there a problem? And here we would have our first helicopter view of the school. Is there a problem? Do we need to dig deeper into our data? If we're using the median score right here as our reference point, we can right away see that we probably do need to dig into our data a little bit more, because we probably do have some problems that we probably need to put some solutions in place to address. So now that we've determined that there is something worthy to explore, we're going to start digging down and building our hypothesis for our precision statement. So we're going to go back to our summary, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to look at the graph referrals by problem behavior. When we look at this referrals by problem behavior, we can look all the way over to the right and see that defiance was the most frequent referral. So let's go in now and let's start building a precision statement. We're going to go into saved reports, and we're going to go down to the drill down reports. Okay, so once the drill down section opens up, you notice that there's different sections of the window. First of all, there's the report filter section. This is where we go through and we take apart different pieces or elements and either add them to the data set in the graphs we want to generate, or we can exclude them from the data set. We're not going to be using any factors to exclude from data sets right now, but do remember that that element is there. Now right away you'll notice when we see the section for including data set, we have the wrong school year. Go ahead and click on that little red button there, what also is a garbage can on your handouts. And now we've removed that school year. Now we're going to pretend during this task, if you're following along, that we're actually going to recreate a previous problem that we worked on in our preparing for our meeting that's coming up in March. So let's go ahead now and start playing around with that a little bit. We're going to pull up current data. Current data, of course, within this time frame of the 2011-2012 school year. We want to take a snapshot of 3 months to be able to look at this problem set. So to do that, first of all, let's go ahead and set our date range. Go ahead and within this filter here with date and time, now again, you can push on these triangles. If I click on that, it will open back up. Same thing, go over to date, the far left, hit on the triangle, and you'll see a whole bunch of different options. We're going to click on date range. I want to move that into include in data set. And you can do it a couple different ways. You can drag it, so you highlight and drag it in there, and you'll see it pop up. Or you can double click on it from over in the filter area. Now again, it's coming up with a different time frame than we'd want. So now if you look over in the upper right hand side, you'll see that you can either get rid of that element by clicking on the minus sign, or there's a little pencil, which means you're going to edit it. Now it's already opened up, so we can go ahead and edit it. We're going to take a time frame of 3 months before our meeting. So at this point, we want to take the date range to start November 1st of 2011, and it's going to end in January 31st of 2012. So let's go ahead, and there's a couple different ways that we can change this date. One way is just to go ahead and click there, erase all that, and put the date in you want. I actually think this is the easiest of the ways, especially right now when you're working in the demo database. For the ending, the other option you can do, again, we are working in a totally different school year, so this is what makes it a little more difficult because we have a couple different options we can pull up here. We could just pull up the calendar, or because we have to change school years, this makes it a little bit different. But let me show you this option as well. So we want to go now until January of 2012. We click OK, and now that pulls up that little mini window, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the 31. Okay, now I'm going to hit generate. Once I hit generate, it's going to pull up a graph just from that 3-month time frame. So if you go ahead and look here now, this is all the referrals that were reported during that 3-month time frame from November 1st of 2011 to the end of January 2012. If we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see now there's a graph down here. This is referrals by location. However, this is not the only graph that we have here. We can go over to this graph type area and again hit that little triangle, and we have a whole bunch of different options. So right now we can go ahead, and these are all in alphabetical order. I want to pull up by problem behavior. So we can switch and toggle to problem behavior, and now we have a 3-month snapshot of the referrals by problem behavior. We can go ahead and look over, and we still see that defiance is quite elevated. We can also look down to this bottom right hand side here, and we have the referrals. And we look over here, there were 269 referrals during that 3-month window. Now again, they weren't all for defiance. We have to do a few things with our filters to be able to get to that precise of a number. So let's go ahead and start that. Now if you remember, we're going to try and recreate the problem behavior that we already looked at. So this was the new problem behavior from our previous meeting, and now we're going to recreate this in here so we can kind of play around with using the drill down menu. So the problem behavior that we are trying to recreate is that many 3rd and 4th graders are engaging in defiance between 11:45 and 12 near the end of their 30-minute recess period, with most of these instances occurring on the playground, in class, or in the hall because the students want to avoid upcoming classroom instructional period. Okay, so let's start playing around with this and getting the filters to work just the way we want. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and go down, you look at these report filters, the main areas are all in alphabetical order. I'm going to look at problem behavior. I want to add defiance to the data set. So I'm going to click on that little arrow, and these are all the different referrals types. I'm going to scroll down, and you can see they're in alphabetical order. Okay, here's all the minors, and the majors are separated. Okay. Here's defiance and insubordination. Now remember, I can just click and drag it into included data set because that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to filter all of our referrals just for those during the 3-month time period and for defiance. Or I can double click on it, and you'll see it's popped up over in the included data set. Now if I hit generate, the graph down below, we see the referrals for problem behavior are only for defiance, which is not too surprising because that's the only behavior we have included in the data set, but it confirms that we've done everything correctly. But now if we scroll down, we see that there's 78 referrals during that 3-month time period. We know they're all for defiance. Let's go ahead and let's start looking at some different variables as well too. Let's go ahead and look at time of day. Again, scroll down, double click or click, and the graph will be generated about time of day. Now, I've already read to you the precision element we've kind of worked with already a little bit together. We see that here are our peaks in referrals. So that's that 11:45 to noon time frame. Now let's go ahead and start putting some of these other elements into our filters. So let's go ahead and we're going to add the time in first. So up in the types of areas for the filters, there's date and time. I'm going to close this, and here's time. When we open this one up, we see time range. Either double click or drag it, and you'll see it pop up in the little window. Now if you look over here, it says between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. We're going to hit the pencil because we want to edit it. And now we're going to change the time. We can go to the drop down window. Oops. And the end time. Okay. We can hit generate. Okay. Let's add some locations. Okay. Again, I'd already read to you the precise problem statement from before, and we know that those locations were the hallway, breezeway, the playground, and the classroom. So I'm going to double click on these and move them into the include in data set. And I'd like to go over there to make sure that they're popping up there when I do it that way. So the next one is playground. Again, these are alphabetical order. This time I'm going to drag one over just to do something a little different. And again, I want to make sure, scroll down that they're all there and hit generate. So now I want to go back over. We've confirmed that's 3rd and 4th grade. I'm going to go ahead and add those into our data set as well too. We find grade over in demographics, grade, and we're going to add 3rd and 4th grade. So again, double click or drag over. And then I like to go over and scroll over just to make sure everything got in there. And don't forget to hit generate. Now I want to look at that why. We have the what, we have the who, we have the when, we have the where. Let's pull up for the why. Okay, let's go over to the chart type and look at this. We have perceived motivation. So if our district is collecting a motivation for the referrals, we can pull it up here. When we use this, again, another element in our hypothesis for our precision statement is that these behaviors are driven by a need to avoid work. Now, if we also look closely, we can see that there's now 36 referrals for this precise statement. If we wanted to, we could go ahead and save this, all these elements, so we don't have to keep coming back and adding them the way we just did. You would hit Save Report Template. You would name it maybe as Precise Statement for Defiance, and hit Save. Now this is going to tell me that I can't save within this template here, and that is because it's the demo school. However, when you're working within your own school database, you will easily be able to save this so you can quickly come back, pull it up, and it will load all these elements. So you don't have to rebuild it each and every time. I hope this was helpful for you. The next part we'll look at is identifying the present levels.